a little over 2 weeks left for the Indian Premier League to start in 2023. But before that, there's this matter of the India versus Australia ODI series to be played from the 17th of March. It's going to be an interesting series. It's going to be an important series for both teams. Remember, India hosting the ODI World Cup later this year. They have had an outstanding start in the format so far. They've defeated Sri Lanka and New Zealand in back-to-back ODI series at home, but they still have some holes to plug in this series against Australia. Australia, of course, the most successful World Cup winning team in the history of one-day cricket. Now, what is at stake for India? Plenty, really. You want to first assert your domination at home. A lot of teams will be watching this series. Remember, India had won the ODI World Cup in 2011. Everybody knows it's very, very difficult to beat India in these conditions. But Australia have done this before. Australia have defeated India in limited overs cricket in this country. So it's going to be an interesting series from that point of view. Who are going to be in focus for the Indian cricket team? To start off with, of course, Shubman Gill, who's had a red hot year so far, scoring hundreds in every format. He scored ODI hundreds, he scored a T20I 100. Of course, he scored that Test match 100 against Australia in Ahmedabad. So Shubman Gill opening that innings, he will be very, very crucial for the Indians. Virat Kohli, I mentioned that before, his 186 in that final Test match in Ahmedabad could pave the way for a brilliant run for him against Australia in the upcoming ODI series. And remember, Virat has a tremendous record against the Aussies, 800s so far in one-day international. So that's something that Indian fans will be very, very keenly looking at as well. From the team management point of view, Shubman Gill's domination is such a blessing in a World Cup year. He's playing well. He has, of course, shown that he's already mastering these conditions, and you'd want to see how he goes about his business against a good Australian team. They'll be, of course, without Pat Cummins, the Aussies, Steve Smith standing in as captain. That is something that they will miss. Pat Cummins' presence in the middle is something that Australia will certainly miss. But Steve Smith, in the past, we know about his leadership credentials. He is an astute, he's a shrewd captain, he's an astute leader. So those are certain things for the Aussies to ponder over as well. David Warner, of course, missed the second half of the Border Gavaskar Trophy because of an injury, went back home. He's now back in India. He would be really, really eager to show his class as well for Australia. There is talk about how Australia have not yet played a one-day game so far in 2023. But remember, right after the T20 World Cup, they had hosted the reigning world champions England in a three-match ODI series at home, and they had won 3-0. So Australia will as well look to try and put some fine print to their ODI plans and strategies. The Indians will be very, very keen, really, to tame Australia, because they will be looked at as front runners for the ODI World Cup later this year. Also, India haven't won an ICC title since that Champions Trophy triumph in 2013. India, when they won the World Cup in 2011, Australia had crashed out in the quarters. It was ironically India who had beaten Australia in the quarterfinals 12 years ago. So there is a lot at stake. There's a lot of pride. Obviously, Australia have a better head-to-head record in ODIs versus India, but you can never ever rule out a stiff competition, a very, very intense contest between these two teams, especially when it comes down to one-day cricket. Pitches, mostly you'd expect flat surfaces, hopefully some big scores, hopefully some thrill for the fans. Hopefully you'll get to see India showing the world why they are number one in the ICC rankings for ODI teams. And Australia, of course, they are a very proud team. They'd want to show why they deserved all those World Cup titles throughout their history. There has been a bit of a hiccup for Australia. Did not win the 2019 World Cup, obviously losing to England in a one-sided semi-final in 2019. So there's plenty for both teams to work around as the ODI World Cup approaches later in 2023. This was Rajesh Gupta bringing this to you for India Today YouTube.
India Today Conclave 2023, New Delhi. Listen to Prime Minister Narendra Modi.